Hello to all you parents out there. This is JP Mitchell here back today for another video. So I want to explain my story with autism and what it was like to be in the world of autism and what it was like to finally come out after 4 to 5 years of therapy. So my journey into the world of autism began when I was just 4 years old. And that's where I was a completely lost soul. You see a little boy like myself who's in his own world, very unhappy in his own little world of autism, has no kids play, no language, no communication, no eye contact, no communication with other people, can't relate to others, can't do this, can't do that. And that was all autism, which is what I had growing up as a kid, which is something that was not quite well known by Suk BC, because the people at Suk BC, they were kind of going about their business, and then out of nowhere comes this little boy guy who's just who just has different behavior than all the other kids, and that little boy diagnosed with autism was me. That little boy who recovered from autism, that was me. And that's who you see in the on the tapes that Mitch and I used to watch on the downstairs TV. That little guy was me. And my journey with autism was so stressful. It was so emotionally sad. It was so depressing to watch a little boy like me go into his own world of autism. But the most important thing was that we got the insurance for the therapy that I needed to help me emerge from autism. Well, Peggy was off doing her nursing stuff at Victoria General Hospital. Mitch was the driving force behind all my therapies, and I'm grateful for that. Mitch, I thank you every single day for being my father, my best friend, for being there with me. Throughout all my therapies, I couldn't have made it without you, man. So thank you so much. And then all this therapy leads up to 2009 when I was approximately 11 years old. This is where I was undeveloped, which is not good at all. Where I had a lack of eye contact, no speech, no communication, could not be potty trained. Although I was potty trained before my childhood, but not officially around this time. And I had no eye contact. Like, I couldn't look someone in the eyes and have a conversation with them. I couldn't look at people. Whenever I would look at someone, I would look right through them. And by the time I got that diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, that's what got the ball rolling. That's what got the funding provided from the ministry that I needed to help me emerge from this so-called irreversible condition we call autism. So by the time that was well said, we did another program called the Anscombs Project, where the professionals at the Queen Alexandra Children's Hospital said that, well, your son JP Mitchell is a perfectly normal autistic child. He has normal behavior for an autistic child. And Mitch is a father. He just didn't know how to take that. And so they told us specifically, they prescribed the future that I was going to have going forward, where I was never going to speak again. I was never going to talk. I was never going to communicate, socialize, ever have meaningful relationships with other people. I was never going to hold a conversation, never tell Mitch that I love him. I would never do this, never do that. Well, one day that was not true at all, because we go into a whole new decade, a whole new era after Journey. So by the end of Journey Middle School, I'm talking with my EAs, and then we go into Edward Milne Community School, which is the high school, which is where I have full sentences, full eye contact, speaking, hugging my peers, being cool like my peers, and then after that, my autism was gone. And I fully recovered from autism at the age of 18, which is good. And by the age of 20 years old, that's when my details, my symptoms were finally cleaned up. I cleaned them up all by myself, of course. And so that's basically it. So what was it like to be autistic? Well, it was very stressful. Like, it was very nerve-wracking, it was emotional, it was sad, it was tough, it was a lot of work, but it was really hard to watch me slip away in this world into autism and to become a victim of bullying, to not understand the world around me, to finally, years later, once I was fully recovered, lost my diagnosis for the autism spectrum disorder. Well, in my case, I no longer met the diagnostic criteria for an autism spectrum disorder. That's the way I say it. And my symptoms were based on my diagnosis. So that meant that both my diagnosis and my details both went into the ground after I had fully recovered from autism, which is good. And so now it's at a point where, and at that point years later, I was no longer trapped in that world, in that nightmare I call autism. I was no longer a victim of bullying. I stood up to my bullies. I told them to leave me alone, this and that. I gave my classmates, my friends hugs, protected Peyton, Michael, and stood up to Jacob, Kelvin, Natasha, who were the three of them, and also Dustin, who were picking on me, who were bullying me, making fun of me. So autism recovery is not easy as people may think it seems to be. But if you have insurance to cover for therapy, which is what we didn't have back then when I was first starting out in life, not at age 1 or 2 anyway, or age 3. But by 2003, 2004, we did get the funding set up by the ministry, which is where the therapist comes in. We had a full team. We had occupational therapists, physiotherapists, speech therapists, and all those other therapists that I had. And they were all required on teaching me how to request for things like a cookie or candy or whatever else I needed. All that therapy worked and it all paid off. And I'm grateful to Mitch and Peggy for helping me, but I'm mostly grateful for Mitch because he was the one who taught me how to speak, how to say words, how to say good language, appropriate words, and all that good stuff. So it was all good. And so now here I am at the age of 24. I'm a Mitchell on a mission to heal as many of these kids as I can from autism. Not all children will recover from autism. Some will, but others won't. Because even with the best treatment, they are still required to have support later on in their lives. So, and this is also a thing too, guys, is that some children will remain on the autism spectrum throughout their lifetimes. But Liam and I, because Liam was another kid who recovered from autism, so both our stories cross paths with each other, which is very unique. And so that's all I have to say about this video, and I hope that this will encourage you parents to go on my Gmail, go to jpmitchell@autismrecovery.com, leave some comments, leave some messages, and I will respond to them. I will do all that good stuff, and I hope that this will encourage you parents also to get funding, to get the diagnosis first to get started, get some funding, get a social worker, get some other agencies to help you, because you need the diagnosis to get started. You need insurance for funding. You need a social worker to help you so you're able to get that therapy and that treatment that your child needs in order to reach their full potential. And you need a diet to help remove your child's bad toxins out of their body. So that's good, like the GAPS diet or the BRAT diet or anything like that. So let's get this video going, guys. Let's do it. Let's go, guys.